Hey friends, I'm Jeffrey G, and I have a serious problem. I keep buying these old keyboards. They come my way at incredible deals, and I just can't say no. It's like a disease. What am I going to do? This is the Roland RD-700 stage piano. Came out around 2001. It's 88 fully weighted keys, and believe me, this keyboard is a beast. It's heavy. It has 128 note polyphony, 16 parts, and 468 sounds. At the time it came out in 2001, this was state of the art. This was one of the best performance keyboards that you could get if you were a piano player and you wanted that fully weighted action. But I guess the question is it relevant today? Does it have any use? Let's just take a close look at this for a second. One of the features is that all the buttons and dials and knobs are pretty large. So if you're performing live, it's easy to pick presets. It's easy to cycle through. You don't have to use the menus. You've got these nice big buttons. Things like the transpose, arpeggiator are right there, handy. There's this section on the equalizer, reverb, chorus, and multi-effects, the volume knob. Everything's sort of big and industrial. Consequently, this thing weighs a ton. It's almost 60 pounds. The reason I'm showing my Roland A33 MIDI controller in the background is so that you get some sense of just how big this thing is. The A33 is a 76 key keyboard, and although these are not fully weighted keys, they're full-size keys. Well, look at how much bigger this thing is. The keyboard is split into this upper and lower thing, so you can, have a sound on the lower and a sound on the upper. You can decide whether to play one or both. And you can control the relative volume right there. So if you want more piano and less keys, it really sounds great. Now, one of the first things I noticed is that of the 400 plus patches that are in here, at the time, Roland also delivered all of those sounds in the XP30, which I've done a video on, and it's linked up above if you haven't seen it, as to whether the Roland XP30 is still relevant today. Now, the XP30 has more than 1,000 presets. This has 468. But the real debate here is, would you carry something this big to a gig? And is it worth it for the fully weighted keys? If you're a piano player, you might say, absolutely, I want that hammer action, fully weighted keys because I'm a piano player. But it's so heavy to take, you could just take this MIDI controller. As you can see, it has full-size keys, and it's quite a bit lighter. This thing weighs less than 15 pounds. This thing weighs almost 60 pounds. I even had to buy a special stand for this because I had no stands that were strong enough to carry that weight. Now, me personally, I play organ sounds and synth sounds, and fully weighted keys with this squared off action don't appeal to me that much. In fact, I hurt my fingers if I try to play organ on this, even though it has great organ sounds. But, to play organ style with my hands, I'm going to hurt them by running against these square keys, whereas the Roland A33 has much more flexible plastic keys. The action is more organ-like. Because I was wrestling with the idea that if I don't use this as a performance keyboard, what would I do? Would I use it in the studio as perhaps a MIDI controller? And yeah, it works just fine. I've set it up. I've used it with Mainstage and other instruments. And basically the keyboards, the pedals, the modulation and pitch wheel work perfectly, just as you would expect. But all of these knobs and dials are not programmable. It wasn't really designed in 2001 to be a MIDI controller. By contrast, that Roland A33 is a MIDI controller. All the buttons and knobs, everything on there is programmable. And you can see that I added this little MIDI controller on the side that plugs into USB so that I would have faders, a jog wheel, and encoders, which is what you would expect in most MIDI controllers these days. There are lots of 88 key MIDI controllers and keyboards that weigh a fraction of what this thing weighs. You might be inclined to buy something newer, lighter, and more capable that has knobs, faders, pads, and is fully programmable. Now, if you're a regular viewer of my YouTube channel, you know that I've collected a series of old keyboards. Sometimes the price is just too attractive to say no, and that was the case with the Roland RD-700. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. If you have some ideas and thoughts on how to make use of this 88-key keyboard, I'd like to see that in the comments. Share your ideas. Give me some advice on whether a 2001 keyboard is even relevant in today's world. If the video is interesting to you, click on the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and click the notification bell. Thanks for watching.